Imagine stepping into a vibrant, interconnected world where the ability to communicate effortlessly in English acts as your passport, unlocking doors to countless opportunities, fostering deep connections with individuals from diverse backgrounds, and enriching your understanding of global cultures. Picture the sheer confidence that radiates from you as you engage in conversations with people from every corner of the globe, effortlessly comprehend the nuances of your favorite films and music, and seize exciting prospects for travel, career advancement, and profound personal growth. This vision isn't a distant fantasy confined to the realm of dreams. It's a tangible aspiration, a valuable skill that you possess the inherent capacity to cultivate and nurture, one deliberate step at a time. Embarking on the journey to speak. English fluently is akin to setting sail on an exciting voyage of discovery. Initially, the waters might appear a little uncharted, perhaps even presenting a few perceived challenges along the way. You might find yourself feeling slightly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of new vocabulary, the subtle intricacies of pronunciation, and the seemingly complex rules of grammar. It's perfectly natural to experience moments of doubt, to worry about the occasional misstep, or to feel a touch of shyness when attempting to articulate your thoughts in a new language. Rest assured, these feelings are universal, a common thread, shared by every single individual who now speaks English with fluency and confidence. They too stood at the very beginning of this path, navigating the same initial uncertainties that you might be encountering. Think of the process of learning. To speak English fluently as meticulously constructing a magnificent edifice, brick by carefully placed brick. Each new word that you diligently acquire represents a vital building block. Each grammar rule that you diligently grasp serves as the essential mortar, binding those bricks together with strength and stability. And every instance of practicing, your spoken English acts as another crucial layer, steadily elevating the structure of your linguistic abilities. This endeavor undeniably requires time, unwavering patience, and consistent dedication. But with each deliberate step you take, your English house will become increasingly robust, more complete, and ultimately a testament to your perseverance. This transformative journey isn't about achieving an unattainable state of flawless perfection from the outset. Instead, it's about embracing the beauty of steady progress, celebrating each small victory along the way as a significant milestone, and viewing any stumbles or errors not as setbacks, but as invaluable learning opportunities that guide you towards greater mastery. Just as a delicate seedling requires consistent nourishment of water and sunlight to blossom into a strong and vibrant plant, your English speaking skills will flourish and thrive with regular, dedicated practice and the adoption of effective learning strategies. In the initial stages of your learning adventure, it is perfectly acceptable and indeed advisable to speak at a comfortable pace and to utilize simple yet effective vocabulary. Consider this the equivalent of learning to ride a bicycle. You begin with the added stability of training wheels, allowing you to focus on the fundamental aspects of balance and basic movement. As you gradually become more comfortable and develop a greater sense of equilibrium, you confidently remove the training wheels and begin to ride with increasing freedom and self-assurance. Similarly, as your vocabulary expands, your understanding of grammar deepens and your confidence blossoms through consistent practice. Your spoken English will become progressively smoother, faster, and more natural, reflecting your growing proficiency. The most crucial and encouraging truth to remember throughout this entire process is that every single fluent English speaker has traversed this very path. They encountered the same challenges, grappled with similar doubts, and experience the same initial hesitations that you might be facing. However, their unwavering determination propelled them forward. They maintained a consistent practice routine, and most importantly, they refused to surrender to the inevitable obstacles. And that same tenacity, that same commitment to progress, is precisely what you possess within you. So, take a deep and reassuring breath, allow your shoulders to relax, and prepare yourself to embark on an incredibly rewarding and transformative journey. We are here to serve as your steadfast guides, illuminating the path forward, step by deliberate step, towards the realization of your goal, speaking English with genuine fluency. This isn't about achieving an impossible standard of perfection from your very first attempt. It's about embracing your current starting point, extending unwavering patience towards yourself throughout the learning process, and wholeheartedly enjoying the exhilarating experience of unlocking your inherent English-speaking potential. Let us commence this exciting adventure together, and soon you will find yourself expressing your thoughts and ideas in English with the confidence and natural ease that you have always envisioned. Embrace the exciting journey ahead and set our intentions on achieving effortless communication. Let's delve into the crucial initial phase, constructing a robust foundation upon which your fluency will flourish. Think of this stage as meticulously preparing fertile ground before planting the seeds of your linguistic growth. Just as healthy soil is essential for a thriving garden, a strong fundamental understanding of English is paramount for achieving genuine fluency. The very first step, and arguably the most impactful in the long run, is consistent and varied exposure. It's not merely about passively hearing English. It's about actively immersing yourself in a rich tapestry of the language. Consider it akin to a plant needing not just water, but also sunlight, nutrients, and the right temperature to thrive. Your brain requires a constant and diverse intake of English to begin processing its nuances, internalizing its rhythms, and ultimately thinking within its framework. Think creatively about weaving English into the fabric of your daily routines. Perhaps your commute transforms into an opportunity to absorb engaging English podcasts or audiobooks. Household chores can become a backdrop for listening to English music with the lyrics in front of you, allowing you to connect sounds with written words. Even those brief moments of downtime can be utilized to switch the language settings on your digital devices and social media platforms to English, subtly nudging your brain to interact with the language in a familiar context. Consider dedicating short breaks to watching concise English videos on topics that genuinely pique your interest, or following English-speaking news outlets for bite-sized updates. The underlying principle is to make English a pervasive presence in your environment, a habitual part of your sensory input that gradually becomes less foreign and more familiar. Building upon this foundation of exposure is the critical skill of active and engaged listening. It transcends simply hearing the sounds of English. It involves a conscious effort to truly understand the message being conveyed. Pay meticulous attention not only to the literal meaning of the words, but also to the subtle cues embedded within. The speaker's intonation, the natural rhythm of their speech, and the underlying emotions that color their delivery. Strive to grasp the context in which the words are spoken and to decipher the overall message being communicated. A highly effective method for honing your active listening skills is to initially follow along with subtitles when watching English videos or movies. However, the true growth lies in progressively challenging yourself to comprehend without relying on the visual aid. Another powerful exercise is to attempt to summarize what you've heard in your own English words. either articulating your summary aloud or mentally reconstructing the key points. This active recall process compels your brain to not only process the information, but also to begin formulating how you would express those same ideas, laying the groundwork for your own fluent output. A cornerstone of fluent expression is a robust vocabulary. Think of words as the essential building blocks from which you construct your English sentences. The broader and more nuanced your vocabulary, the more precisely and effectively you can articulate your thoughts and comprehend the intricate messages of others. Begin by focusing on acquiring common, everyday words that form the bedrock of daily communication, and then steadily expand your lexical repertoire as your proficiency grows. There are numerous engaging and effective strategies for vocabulary acquisition. Traditional flashcards can be incredibly useful for visual learners, while vocabulary building applications offer interactive and gamified approaches. Make a conscious habit of diligently looking up any unfamiliar words you encounter in your reading or listening activities. However, the key to truly internalizing new vocabulary lies not just in memorizing definitions, but in understanding the subtle ways in which a word is used in diverse contexts. Actively attempt to incorporate newly learned words into your own spoken and written sentences, as this practical application significantly enhances retention and fosters a deeper understanding of their usage. Finally, a solid grasp of fundamental English grammar provides the essential framework for constructing accurate and comprehensible sentences. While the pursuit of absolute grammatical perfection can sometimes hinder the natural flow of speech, a working knowledge of basic sentence structures, verb tenses, and common grammatical patterns is indispensable for clear and effective communication. You don't need to become a seasoned grammarian, but understanding the underlying principles will significantly bolster your ability to express yourself with clarity and precision. Numerous accessible resources are available for mastering basic English grammar, ranging from user-friendly online lessons to straightforward workbooks designed for beginners. Focus on comprehending the core concepts and their practical application rather than becoming overwhelmed by intricate and less frequently used rules. Think of grammar as the skeletal system that provides structure and support to your expanding vocabulary, enabling you to articulate your thoughts in a coherent and understandable manner. In essence, laying a robust foundation for effortless English fluency involves a synergistic approach encompassing consistent and varied exposure, active and engaged listening, the continuous building of your vocabulary, and a solid understanding of fundamental English grammar. While these might appear as distinct components, they function in a mutually reinforcing manner, creating a strong and stable base upon which your fluency will naturally develop. Remember that language acquisition is a marathon, characterized by gradual progress and sustained effort, rather than a sprint demanding immediate results. Exercise patience with yourself, celebrate each milestone you achieve, and remain dedicated to consistently nurturing these foundational skills. In the subsequent parts of our guide, we will delve into practical and engaging techniques to actively begin speaking more fluently, transforming your passive understanding into confident and articulate expression. Stay with us on this exciting journey. Having actively engaged our voices and embarked on the journey of practical speaking, we now arrive at a pivotal stage: the profound expansion of your vocabulary and the refinement of your comprehension abilities. Think of this phase as not just adding more tools to your toolbox, but acquiring specialized instruments that allow you to navigate the complexities of English communication with remarkable precision, depth, and ease. A rich and nuanced vocabulary, coupled with sharp and insightful comprehension, forms the bedrock of truly fluent and confident speaking. One of the most intellectually stimulating and rewarding avenues for broadening your vocabulary is through immersive and diverse reading. Move beyond the confines of structured learning materials and venture into the vast and captivating world of English literature. Engaging short stories that spark your imagination, insightful articles that broaden your understanding of diverse subjects, contemporary blogs that offer glimpses into modern culture, and reputable news websites that keep you informed about global events. When you encounter unfamiliar words, resist the immediate urge to interrupt your reading flow. Instead, cultivate the invaluable skill of inferring meaning from the surrounding context, allowing your brain to actively engage with the language and make educated guesses. Once you've completed a paragraph, a page, or even a chapter, revisit those noted words and consult a dictionary or thesaurus to solidify their precise definitions and explore their various nuances. Maintain a dedicated vocabulary journal, a personal repository of linguistic discoveries where you meticulously record new words alongside their definitions, illustrative example sentences showcasing their usage, and even personal associations or mnemonic devices that aid in recall. Make it a consistent habit to revisit and review your vocabulary journal, actively reinforcing these new additions to your linguistic arsenal. Building upon the foundation of extensive reading is the critical practice of active and strategic vocabulary learning. Simply encountering new words in text isn't sufficient for them to become readily available in your spoken English. You must actively engage with these words to integrate them into your working vocabulary. Make a conscious effort to incorporate newly learned words into your own sentences, both in your written exercises and during your speaking practice. The more actively you utilize a word, the stronger the neural connections become, making it more readily accessible during spontaneous conversation. Explore a diverse range of vocabulary learning techniques, such as the creation of intricate word maps that visually connect related terms, the development of memorable mnemonic devices that link new words to familiar concepts, or the association of abstract words with vivid mental images. Experiment with different approaches to discover what resonates most effectively with your individual learning style and make it a consistent part of your study routine. Another incredibly powerful tool for both vocabulary expansion and the refinement of comprehension skills is purposeful and analytical engagement with English language media. While passive viewing or listening can offer a degree of exposure, actively engaging with movies, television shows, and documentaries will yield significantly more profound results. Pay meticulous attention to the subtle ways in which native speakers utilize vocabulary in authentic, real-world contexts. Observe the nuances of meaning, the subtle shifts in connotation, and how the same word can be employed in various ways depending on the situation. Initially, relying on subtitles can be a helpful crutch, but gradually challenge yourself to comprehend without them, focusing intently on understanding the spoken language through context, intonation, and visual cues. After engaging with the media, actively try to summarize the content in your own English words, or engage in a discussion about it with a language partner, consciously incorporating the new vocabulary and expressions you encountered. To further elevate your comprehension abilities and prepare you for the diverse linguistic landscape of the English-speaking world, it is crucial to actively expose yourself to a wide spectrum of English accents. The English language is a global phenomenon, spoken in numerous countries and regions, each with its own distinctive accent and unique pronunciation patterns. By consciously exposing your ears to this diversity, you will become a more adaptable and versatile listener, significantly improving your ability to understand English speakers from all corners of the globe. Seek out podcasts featuring speakers with varied accents, listen to interviews with individuals from different English-speaking countries, and explore news broadcasts from international sources. Don't underestimate the profound impact of contextual learning on both vocabulary acquisition and comprehension. Instead of laboriously memorizing isolated words in a vacuum, strive to learn them within the rich context of phrases and complete sentences. Understanding how words are typically employed together in natural speech will lend a far more authentic and fluent quality to your own spoken English. Pay close attention to the phenomenon of collocations, words that frequently and naturally occur together. For example, bitterly cold, utterly ridiculous, make a decision. Actively learning these common pairings will significantly enhance the natural flow and idiomatic richness of your spoken English. A fundamental aspect of clear and effective communication, often intertwined with fluency, is refined pronunciation. Even with an extensive vocabulary and a strong grasp of grammar, unclear pronunciation can hinder comprehension. Pay meticulous attention to the specific sounds of English that might differ significantly from those in your native language. Utilize the wealth of online pronunciation guides, interactive applications, and instructional videos to hear and visualize how native speakers articulate words correctly. Dedicate time to practicing the pronunciation of individual words and entire phrases. Aloud, focusing on clarity, accuracy, and the subtle nuances of stress and intonation. The practice of recording yourself speaking and critically evaluating your pronunciation can be an invaluable tool for identifying specific areas that require further attention and refinement. Finally, as your vocabulary expands and your comprehension deepens, actively seek out opportunities to engage in more complex and nuanced conversations. Challenge yourself to participate in in-depth discussions on a broader range of topics that extend beyond basic greetings and everyday transactions. This will necessitate the active utilization of the new vocabulary you have diligently acquired, and further develop your ability to understand and respond to more intricate and subtle linguistic expressions. Never hesitate to politely ask for clarification if you encounter a word or phrase you don't fully understand. This proactive engagement is a hallmark of an active learner and a highly effective way to accelerate your progress. By diligently and strategically expanding your vocabulary through extensive and diverse reading, actively engaging in purposeful vocabulary learning techniques, immersing yourself in English language media with an analytical ear, consciously exposing yourself to a wide array of English accents, prioritizing contextual learning, meticulously refining your pronunciation, and actively participating in increasingly complex conversations, you will witness a significant enhancement in both your comprehension and your overall speaking fluency. Remember that these crucial skills are intricately interconnected, forming a powerful synergy that will propel your language abilities to new heights. A deeper understanding will naturally foster more confident and articulate speaking, and a richer vocabulary will empower you to express your thoughts and ideas with greater precision, depth, and effortless flow. Continue to challenge yourself. Remain curious and engaged in exploring the vast landscape of the English language, and witness your fluency continue its remarkable growth. In our concluding part, we will focus on essential strategies for cultivating unwavering confidence and overcoming any lingering barriers that might be hindering your journey towards truly fluent and natural English speaking. Stay with us as we reach the final stage of this transformative process. Practice and significantly enriched your vocabulary and comprehension skills. We now arrive at a profoundly important stage of your journey, the cultivation of unwavering confidence and the strategic navigation of any lingering psychological or practical obstacles that might still be subtly impeding your progress towards truly fluent and natural English speaking. Consider this phase as meticulously refining a finely crafted instrument, ensuring that every component works in perfect harmony, allowing you to express your linguistic artistry with both power and grace. One of the most pervasive barriers that many learners encounter, even those possessing a substantial grasp of English grammar and a commendable vocabulary, is the often debilitating fear of linguistic imperfection. This anxiety can act as an invisible shackle, preventing you from unleashing your voice and speaking with the freedom and spontaneity that characterizes fluency. It is absolutely crucial to fundamentally reevaluate your perception of errors. Mistakes are not indicators of failure or inadequacy. Rather, they are invaluable signposts on the road to mastery, providing essential feedback that illuminates areas for growth and refinement. Each stumble, each self-corrected sentence, each moment of linguistic uncertainty overcome is a tangible step forward in your development. Embrace these moments, analyze the underlying reasons for the error, learn from them with a spirit of curiosity, and consciously choose not to allow the pursuit of an unattainable ideal of perfection to stifle your inherent willingness to communicate. Remember the reassuring truth that even native English speakers, in the rapid flow of spontaneous conversation, occasionally make minor grammatical slips or choose less than perfect phrasing. Closely intertwined with the fear of mistakes is the often crippling presence of shyness and a perceived lack of self-assurance. You might possess a significant passive understanding of English, readily comprehending written and spoken language, yet feel a profound hesitancy when it comes to actively expressing yourself verbally, particularly in the presence of others. The most effective strategy for gradually dismantling this barrier is through carefully planned and progressively challenging exposure, coupled with the consistent practice of positive self-affirmation. Begin by creating safe and low-pressure speaking environments, perhaps engaging in conversations with trusted language exchange partners where mutual support and understanding are paramount, or participating in online communities where you feel a sense of belonging and acceptance. Gradually increase the level of challenge by venturing into more diverse and potentially less familiar speaking situations. Consciously remind yourself of the tangible progress you have already made on your English learning journey and actively celebrate each instance where you summon the courage to speak, even if it's just a brief sentence or a simple phrase. The consistent practice of positive self-talk, consciously replacing negative self-doubts with encouraging and affirming statements, can be an incredibly powerful tool in bolstering your self-confidence and fostering a more positive internal dialogue about your speaking abilities. Never underestimate the profound influence of cultivating a nurturing and supportive learning ecosystem. Actively seek out and surround yourself with individuals who genuinely encourage and celebrate your English learning endeavors. Prioritize establishing connections with language partners and participating in learning communities that foster a positive, collaborative, and understanding atmosphere. Consciously avoid environments where you might feel unduly judged or criticized. For your linguistic missteps, A supportive and encouraging community can provide the vital motivation and unwavering encouragement necessary to persevere through inevitable moments of frustration or self-doubt. A critical step towards achieving natural fluency is to actively work on diminishing your reliance on the cognitive crutch of mental translation. As we have previously discussed, the constant and often subconscious process of translating from your native language into English and vice versa can introduce significant delays and disrupt the natural flow of your speech. Make a conscious and persistent effort to directly formulate your thoughts and internal monologue in English whenever possible. When you have a thought you wish to express, consciously attempt to construct the corresponding English phrasing first, even if your initial attempts are simple and somewhat basic. This fundamental mental shift requires dedicated practice and unwavering patience, but it represents a crucial stride towards achieving the automaticity that characterizes truly fluent speech. Focusing on the development of a natural flow and rhythm in your speech is another key aspect of sounding more fluent. Fluent English isn't solely about grammatical accuracy and a broad vocabulary. It also encompasses the natural cadence, intonation patterns, and seamless connection between words and phrases that characterize native-like speech. Pay close attention to how native English speakers naturally link words together, creating smooth transitions and employing subtle pauses for emphasis and clarity. Actively practice speaking in longer, more complex sentences, consciously striving to connect your ideas smoothly through the strategic use of transition words and phrases. The practice of recording your own speech and specifically analyzing your pacing, rhythm, and the naturalness of your transitions can provide invaluable insights for targeted improvement. Cultivating the ability to use filler words and hesitation, strategies with naturalness and effectiveness, is another subtle yet important aspect of fluent speech. While our ultimate goal is to minimize unnecessary pauses, authentic, spontaneous conversation often includes brief hesitations as speakers gather their thoughts or formulate their next point, instead of relying on distracting and less natural fillers like excessive and ah. Consciously practice incorporating more natural-sounding hesitation phrases such as, well, like, or let me see. These subtle linguistic tools can help you maintain the flow of the conversation while you are actively processing your thoughts and formulating your response. Develop the invaluable skill of paraphrasing and circumlocution. There will inevitably be instances where the precise English word you need to express a particular thought eludes you in the moment. In such situations, the ability to effectively explain what you mean using alternative words and phrases that you do know is a hallmark of fluency and a crucial strategy for preventing long, awkward silences that disrupt the natural flow of conversation. Actively practice explaining common objects, concepts, or abstract ideas in various ways, utilizing different vocabulary and sentence structures. Embrace the transformative power of consistent practice in authentic, real-world situations. The more frequently you actively utilize your English skills in everyday scenarios, the more comfortable, confident, and natural your speech will become. Actively seek out opportunities to engage in English conversations, whether it's ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, participating in casual exchanges with shopkeepers, or striking up conversations with fellow travelers. Each and every real-world interaction, regardless of its brevity, provides invaluable practice and reinforces your ability to communicate effectively and spontaneously. Finally, cultivate an unwavering, positive, and persistent mindset. maintain an unwavering belief in your inherent ability to achieve fluency in English. Understand and accept that progress in language acquisition is rarely a perfectly linear process. There will be periods where you feel a surge of improvement and other times when you might perceive a plateau or even a slight dip in your progress. This is a natural part of the learning cycle. The key is to remain steadfast in your commitment to consistent practice, to maintain your motivation by celebrating even the smallest victories, and to never lose sight of your ultimate goal. Your dedication, your resilience in the face of challenges, and your unwavering perseverance will ultimately pave the way to the fluent and natural English speaking skills you so earnestly desire. Having diligently constructed a robust foundation, actively engaged your voices in consistent practice, significantly expanded your vocabulary and comprehension, and cultivated a burgeoning sense of confidence, we now arrive at an advanced stage of refinement. Our focus shifts towards elevating your English speaking beyond mere functional proficiency, venturing into the realm of genuine expressiveness and a nuanced appreciation for the intricate layers of the language. This part is about meticulously adding layers of sophistication to your communication, enabling you to convey not just factual information, but also subtle shades of meaning, a rich spectrum of emotions, and the unique tapestry of your individual personality, ultimately bringing your English to life with heightened vibrancy, authenticity, and impact. A pivotal aspect of achieving advanced fluency and natural expressiveness lies in the comprehensive mastery and intuitive application of idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs. These linguistic elements represent the often unpredictable, yet incredibly colorful and essential building blocks of authentic English conversation. Idioms are captivating phrases whose overall meaning cannot be readily deduced from the literal definitions of their constituent words. Consider expressions such as hit the nail on the head, bite the bullet, or spill the beans. Phrasal verbs, equally crucial for natural speech, combine a main verb with a preposition or adverb, frequently resulting in an entirely new and often idiomatic meaning that diverges significantly from the base verb. For instance, look forward to break down or come across. Actively dedicating time and effort to learning, understanding the contextual nuances of, and confidently incorporating these idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs into your spoken English will dramatically enhance your naturalness and fluency, allowing you to communicate with a distinctly more native-like flavor. Pay close attention to their organic occurrence in English language movies, television shows, and spontaneous conversations with native speakers, diligently noting their specific meanings and the contexts in which they are employed. Develop a systematic approach to learning them, perhaps through the creation of personalized flashcards that include illustrative example sentences, or by utilizing specialized language learning applications designed to specifically target idioms and phrasal verbs. Make a conscious and deliberate effort to integrate these newly acquired expressions into your own spoken and written communication, actively practicing their usage until they become an intuitive and seamless part of your linguistic repertoire. Furthermore, cultivating a deep and nuanced understanding of connotation and subtle shades of meaning is paramount for achieving expressive fluency. While several English words might share similar literal definitions, they often carry distinct emotional weights, subtle implications, and varying degrees of formality. For example, consider the subtle differences in feeling and intensity conveyed by words such as sad, unhappy, melancholy, and despondent, or the varying levels of formality implied by ask, inquire, request, and solicit. Developing a keen awareness of these subtle distinctions will empower you to select your words with greater precision and articulate your thoughts and emotions with enhanced accuracy and impact. Engage in extensive reading across diverse genres and listen attentively to the deliberate word choices made by native speakers in various communicative contexts. Analyze the context surrounding a particular word choice and consider the speaker's intended meaning and emotional tone. The ability to discern and appropriately utilize different registers and tones is another hallmark of advanced and nuanced fluency. The manner in which you speak English will naturally fluctuate depending on a multitude of factors, including the specific situation, your intended audience, and your communicative purpose. For instance, you would typically employ a more formal and precise register when delivering a professional presentation at work compared to the relaxed and informal language you would use when engaging in a casual conversation with close friends. Developing the capacity to recognize the linguistic cues that characterize different registers and consciously adapt your own language, encompassing your vocabulary, grammatical structures, and intonation patterns to seamlessly align with diverse communicative contexts is a key indicator of sophisticated language proficiency. Pay close attention to the linguistic features that distinguish formal and informal speech, and actively practice adjusting your own spoken English to suit various scenarios, perhaps through role-playing or by consciously mimicking the language used in different types of English language media. To significantly enhance your expressive capabilities in English, actively dedicate yourself to incorporating richer and more evocative descriptive language into your speech. Instead of relying on commonplace and somewhat generic adjectives and adverbs, consciously strive to employ more vivid and imaginative words that paint a clearer, more engaging, and more sensory picture for your listener. For example, rather than simply stating, "It was a big storm," you could opt for, "It was a torrential downpour accompanied by ferocious winds." Cultivating this skill involves actively expanding your vocabulary of descriptive words and consciously practicing their application in your spoken and written communication. Reading descriptive passages in English literature, paying close attention to the author's word choices, and then actively attempting to integrate similar evocative language into your own expressive repertoire can be an incredibly beneficial exercise. Pay meticulous attention to the natural flow, rhythm, and intonation patterns inherent in native English speech, including the strategic use of pauses for emphasis, the subtle variations in pitch that convey meaning, and the natural stress patterns within words and sentences. Consciously strive to incorporate these elements into your own spoken English. Record yourself speaking and critically analyze your intonation patterns. Are you speaking in a relatively monotone manner, or are you effectively utilizing the natural rises and falls in pitch that characterize English to convey emphasis, emotion, and grammatical structure? Actively mimicking native English speakers, not just their precise pronunciation of words, but also the melodic contours of their delivery, can be a highly effective technique for developing a more natural and engaging rhythm in your own speech. Developing strong and engaging storytelling skills represents another exceptional pathway to enhancing both your fluency and your expressiveness in English. The art of storytelling necessitates the ability to seamlessly connect a sequence of ideas, to employ vivid and descriptive language that captivates your audience, and to engage your listener on an emotional level. Actively practice telling stories in English, commencing with simple narratives and gradually progressing to more complex and detailed accounts. Pay close attention to how native English speakers structure their stories, how they build suspense, and how they utilize language. to create interest, evoke emotions, and leave a lasting impact on their audience. Actively seek out and cultivate opportunities for deeper, more substantive, and more meaningful conversations with English speakers. Consciously move beyond the realm of superficial small talk and engage in discussions about your genuine interests, your deeply held opinions, and your core beliefs. This will inherently challenge you to articulate more complex and abstract ideas, necessitating the utilization of a broader and more nuanced range of vocabulary and more sophisticated grammatical structures. Embrace the opportunity to express your unique personality, your individual perspective, and your authentic voice when communicating in English. Continuously strive to expand your understanding of cultural references, social nuances, and idiomatic expressions rooted in English-speaking cultures. Language is inextricably linked to culture, and possessing a working knowledge of common cultural references, prevalent idioms, and subtle social cues will not only make your English sound significantly more natural and authentic, but will also facilitate deeper and more meaningful connections with native English speakers. Pay close attention to cultural references that appear in English language movies, television shows, music lyrics, and literature, and never hesitate to politely ask native speakers for clarification when you encounter a cultural allusion or expression that you don't fully comprehend. By actively and consistently focusing on these advanced strategies, mastering idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs, cultivating a nuanced understanding of connotation, skillfully utilizing different registers and tones, incorporating rich descriptive language, refining your natural flow and rhythm, developing compelling storytelling abilities, engaging in deeper conversations, and expanding your cultural awareness, you will continue to elevate your English speaking skills towards a level of genuine expressiveness, nuanced understanding, and truly natural fluency. Remember that this is an ongoing and enriching process of linguistic refinement and cultural exploration. Embrace the inherent richness and captivating complexity of the English language, and persistently challenge yourself to communicate with ever-increasing nuance, authenticity, and expressive power. Having diligently cultivated a robust foundation, actively engaged your voices in consistent practice, significantly expanded your linguistic repertoire, embraced nuanced expressiveness, and begun to navigate the currents of spontaneous communication, we now arrive at a deeply immersive stage. Our focus intensifies on truly mastering the art of real-time, fluid English exchange, coupled with the cultivation of advanced auditory acuity that allows you to effortlessly decipher the intricate layers of meaning conveyed by native speakers in the dynamic and often unpredictable tapestry of natural conversation. This part is about transcending the boundaries of prepared discourse and confidently navigating the ever-shifting landscape of spontaneous interaction, understanding not just the explicit words spoken, but also the subtle undertones implied, meanings, and cultural nuances that enrich genuine communication. One of the most intellectually agile and practically vital skills for achieving seamless, spontaneous fluency is the deliberate cultivation of the ability to think extemporaneously in English. This involves actively training your cognitive processes to rapidly analyze incoming auditory information, synthesize its meaning within the broader context of the conversation, and formulate coherent and relevant responses in real time, all while minimizing reliance on the often cumbersome intermediary of mental translation or the rigid adherence to preconceived scripts. Engage in regular, unstructured conversations with language exchange partners, tutors, or even willing native speakers, where the topic of discussion is allowed to evolve organically and unpredictably. Consciously challenge yourself to respond promptly and naturally to unexpected turns in the conversation, even if your initial contributions are concise and straightforward. The more consistently you immerse yourself in this kind of unscripted interaction, the more comfortable, adaptable, and proficient you will become at formulating your thoughts directly in English, even when faced with novel or challenging conversational pathways. Closely intertwined with the ability to think on your feet is the strategic development of effective communication management techniques for gracefully navigating encounters with unfamiliar vocabulary or complex conceptual frameworks in the midst of real-time conversations. Native speakers, in their natural linguistic flow, will inevitably employ words, idiomatic expressions, or refer to concepts that you may not have previously encountered. Instead of allowing these momentary linguistic hurdles to derail your participation, consciously cultivate a repertoire of effective strategies for maintaining the conversational momentum. These might include politely and directly asking for clarification. "Excuse me, could you briefly explain what you mean by the term?" Employing the technique of paraphrasing to actively confirm your understanding. So, if I'm grasping this correctly, you're essentially conveying that, or skillfully utilizing the surrounding contextual clues and nonverbal cues to make educated inferences about the intended meaning. The deliberate development and confident application of these communication management skills will empower you to maintain the natural flow of the conversation, even when confronted with linguistic uncertainties. Actively and consciously working to minimize your latency or reaction time in conversational exchanges is another crucial element in achieving a truly natural and fluent rhythm. Fluent speakers typically exhibit minimal perceptible pauses between conversational turns, indicating active listening and rapid processing. Dedicate yourself to practicing more immediate responses, even if your initial contributions are brief acknowledgments. "Right, I see, that makes sense," or simple expressions of agreement or disagreement. This demonstrates your active engagement in the conversation and contributes significantly to a smoother and more natural conversational flow. One effective method for honing this skill is to engage in focused, rapid-fire question and answer drills with a language partner, consciously striving to minimize the time lag between hearing a question and formulating a relevant response. 2.0. Further enhance your capacity for spontaneous interaction. Actively cultivate the ability to confidently initiate conversations and seamlessly transition between different topics in a natural and contextually appropriate manner. Avoid the tendency to always wait passively for others to take the lead in initiating discussions. Take the proactive step of introducing subjects that genuinely pique your interest or that are relevant to the immediate context. Familiarize yourself with and practice employing common English phrases that facilitate smooth topic transitions. Speaking of which, on a slightly different note, that reminds me of an interesting point. The more comfortable and confident you become with initiating and subtly guiding the direction of conversations, the more natural and engaging your overall interaction will feel to both you and your conversational partners. Developing advanced listening comprehension skills specifically tailored to the challenges of noisy or rapidly paced conversational environments is an indispensable aspect of achieving real-world fluency. Native speakers, particularly in informal social settings, do not always articulate their thoughts slowly and with pristine clarity. Actively train your auditory processing system to effectively comprehend English spoken amidst background noise, overlapping conversations, or at a rapid conversational pace. Gradually challenge yourself by listening to English language audio and video content in environments with increasing levels of ambient sound. Consciously work on developing your ability to filter out extraneous auditory distractions and to maintain focused attention on the specific speaker you are endeavoring to understand. Experiment with subtle techniques such as slightly lowering the volume of English language media to force your brain to work harder to decipher the spoken words. Another critical dimension of advanced listening comprehension involves cultivating the ability to discern implied meanings and interpret subtle nonverbal cues. Fluent communication transcends the mere decoding of the literal words spoken. It encompasses the holistic interpretation of the entire communicative event. Pay meticulous attention to the speaker's nuanced tone of voice, their subtle facial expressions, and their accompanying body language, as these nonverbal signals can often convey additional layers of meaning, underlying emotions, or even implicit contradictions to the explicit verbal message. Actively practice interpreting these nonverbal cues and consciously consider how they might subtly influence the overall interpretation of the spoken words. Engaging with scenes from English language movies or television shows by initially watching without sound and then rewatching with the audio can be a valuable exercise in focusing your attention on these crucial nonverbal aspects of communication. Actively experimenting with and refining a diverse range of listening strategies can significantly enhance your comprehension in the dynamic context of spontaneous conversations. Different communicative situations often necessitate different listening approaches. At times, you may need to listen intently for specific pieces of factual information, while on other occasions, your primary goal might be to grasp the overall gist or main idea of the conversation. Consciously train yourself to adapt your listening, focus, and strategy based on the specific demands of the communicative context. For instance, when listening to a news report, your focus might be on identifying key facts and figures, whereas during a casual social interaction, you might prioritize understanding the speaker's opinions, feelings, and underlying intentions. 2. Further cultivate your spontaneous interaction skills and enhance your ability to articulate your thoughts in real time. Actively seek out opportunities to engage in debates, structured discussions, or impromptu conversational challenges on a diverse range of topics. These activities will inherently push you to formulate arguments, express your perspectives, and articulate your reasoning in English without the benefit of extensive pre-planning, thereby requiring you to think quickly and utilize a broader spectrum of your vocabulary and grammatical structures under the pressure of live interaction. Even if you initially experience a degree of discomfort or hesitation, the more consistently you practice expressing your views spontaneously and engaging in dynamic conversational exchanges, the more confident, articulate, and ultimately fluent you will become in navigating the unpredictable currents of real-world communication. Continuously expanding your familiarity with colloquialisms, idiomatic slang, and culturally specific expressions will also contribute significantly to your ability to engage in more natural and fluent spontaneous speech. Native English speakers frequently employ informal language, including colloquial expressions and slang terms that may not be explicitly taught in traditional language learning textbooks. Actively pay attention to these informal linguistic elements in casual social settings and make a conscious effort to understand their specific meanings and the appropriate context for their usage. However, exercise a degree of caution and discretion when incorporating slang into your own speech, ensuring that you have a solid understanding of its connotations and social appropriateness before using it yourself. Significantly expanded your linguistic repertoire, embraced nuanced expressiveness, honed spontaneous interaction skills, cultivated advanced auditory acuity, and begun to harness the power of storytelling and persuasion. We now ascend to a sophisticated stage focused on achieving true mastery in weaving intricate tapestries of narrative and eloquently articulating your ideas with persuasive force in fluent English. This part is about transcending the functional application of language and transforming your English into a potent instrument for captivating your audience, influencing their perspectives, and forging profound connections through the art of compelling storytelling and masterful persuasion. One of the hallmarks of advanced fluency and impactful communication is the development of highly sophisticated narrative skills. This encompasses the ability to not only structure stories logically, but also to craft intricate plots, develop multidimensional and relatable characters, even within the context of brief personal anecdotes, and employ vivid, sensory-rich language to create immersive and unforgettable imagery within the listener's mind. Dedicate yourself to practicing the art of telling diverse types of stories, deeply personal experiences imbued with emotion, insightful summaries of complex literary works or cinematic masterpieces, and imaginative fictional tales that transport your audience to other worlds, with a keen focus on establishing a compelling beginning that immediately draws the listener in. A well-developed middle section characterized by rising action, increasing tension, and the introduction of compelling conflicts and a satisfying and resonant resolution that leaves a lasting impression. Pay meticulous attention to the techniques employed by masterful native English storytellers, analyzing their strategic use of pacing to build suspense, their skillful deployment of dialogue to reveal character and advance the plot, and their evocative use of descriptive detail to engage the senses and create a vivid atmosphere. Experiment with a wide array of storytelling techniques, such as the strategic use of foreshadowing to hint at future events, the effective implementation of flashbacks to provide crucial background information, and the deliberate variation of your sentence structure to maintain listener engagement and create a dynamic rhythm. To elevate your narrative abilities to an even higher level, consciously cultivate your capacity to convey a rich spectrum of human emotions through the subtle nuances of language. Truly fluent storytellers transcend the mere recounting of events. They possess the ability to make their listeners genuinely feel the emotions inherent in the narrative. Practice actively employing vocabulary and manipulating your tone of voice to express a wide range of emotional states, including profound joy, poignant sadness, intense anger, genuine surprise, and palpable fear. Pay close attention to the ways in which native English speakers utilize intonation, facial expressions, and body language to amplify the emotional impact of their storytelling. Experiment with varying your vocal delivery, incorporating pauses for dramatic effect, and strategically employing descriptive language that appeals to the senses and evokes corresponding emotional responses within your audience. Another indispensable element of advanced and impactful communication is the comprehensive mastery of the art of persuasive speaking. This extends beyond simply articulating your point of view. It involves the ability to construct compelling arguments supported by logical reasoning and credible evidence, and to skillfully tailor your language and delivery to effectively influence your listeners' thoughts, beliefs, or actions. Dedicate yourself to practicing the construction of persuasive arguments on a diverse range of topics, both in carefully crafted written form and in dynamic spoken presentations. Focus on developing a clear and concise thesis statement that articulates your central argument, supporting it with well-reasoned and logically structured points, and proactively anticipating potential counter-arguments that your audience might raise. Pay meticulous attention to the persuasive strategies employed by skilled native English speakers in formal debates, compelling presentations, and even everyday persuasive conversations. To become a truly eloquent and effective persuasive speaker, consciously cultivate your ability to strategically employ a wide array of rhetorical devices. These are sophisticated linguistic techniques that skilled communicators utilize to engage their audience on a deeper level, enhance the memorability of their message, and ultimately increase the persuasiveness of their arguments. Explore and practice incorporating rhetorical devices such as impactful analogies and illuminating metaphors to clarify complex ideas, thought-provoking rhetorical questions to stimulate audience engagement, and carefully crafted appeals to both logic, logos, and emotion, pathos, to resonate with your listeners on multiple levels. Diligently study examples of influential English speeches and critically analyze the specific rhetorical devices employed by the speakers to achieve their persuasive aims. Actively practice integrating these techniques into your own spoken communication to make your arguments more compelling, memorable, and ultimately persuasive. Developing a nuanced understanding of and the ability to navigate diverse communication styles is also a critical attribute of advanced fluency, particularly within persuasive contexts. Individuals from different cultural backgrounds, various professional fields, and even differing personality types often adhere to distinct communication preferences and norms. Possessing the adaptability to recognize and skillfully adjust your own communication style to align with the preferences and expectations of your audience will significantly enhance your effectiveness as a communicator and your persuasiveness as a speaker. Cultivate your awareness of how individuals from different backgrounds typically communicate, paying attention to factors such as directness, formality, the use of silence, and nonverbal cues, and be willing to strategically adapt your own communicative approach accordingly to foster rapport and maximize your persuasive impact. To further refine your persuasive abilities and engage in more sophisticated communication, actively practice the art of active and empathetic listening, coupled with the skill of responding thoughtfully and effectively to counter-arguments. Persuasion is rarely a unidirectional act of broadcasting information. It is often a dynamic and interactive dialogue. Dedicate yourself to paying meticulous attention to the perspectives and concerns articulated by your listener, consciously acknowledging their points of view with empathy and respect, and formulating thoughtful and well-reasoned responses to any objections or alternative viewpoints they might raise. Proactively practicing the anticipation of potential counterarguments and preparing well-articulated and persuasive rebuttals will significantly enhance your confidence and effectiveness as a persuasive communicator. Developing strong and adaptable negotiation skills in English represents another invaluable facet of advanced and nuanced communication. Negotiation involves the complex process of finding mutually agreeable solutions in situations where diverse interests or perspectives may initially exist. Actively practice engaging in negotiations in English across a variety of scenarios, such as discussing prices, exploring potential compromises, or mediating and resolving conflicts. Focus on clearly and assertively articulating your own needs and interests while simultaneously demonstrating a genuine understanding and respect for the other party's perspective and objectives. To further enhance your ability to navigate complex linguistic landscapes and engage with diverse forms of communication, consciously expose yourself to and critically analyze a wide array of distinct genres of English discourse. Pay particular attention to the specific linguistic features, specialized vocabulary, and characteristic organizational structures employed in various professional and academic contexts, such as formal academic writing, concise and impactful. Business communication, precise and unambiguous legal documents, and objective and informative journalistic reports. Developing a sophisticated understanding of these diverse stylistic conventions will significantly enhance your versatility and sophistication as a communicator, enabling you to navigate a wider range of linguistic environments with confidence and competence, continuously expanding your knowledge and understanding of culturally embedded idioms, insightful proverbs, and common literary or historical allusions will also profoundly enrich both your narrative and your persuasive abilities. In English, these culturally resonant expressions possess the power to add depth, color, and a sense of shared understanding to your communication, making your narratives more engaging and your persuasive arguments more relatable and impactful for native English speakers. Actively pay attention to these culturally significant expressions as they appear in various forms of English language content and diligently learn their specific meanings and the appropriate contexts for their effective utilization.